Just getting started or feeling stuck? Wherever you're at, the VO Dojo is here to help you take your voiceover career all the way. Get the training, support, and connection you need to guide you every step of the way. From I don't know to working pro. You get a rock-solid foundation and all the tools you need for your sustained, successful voiceover career. Mindset, skill set, and real-world experience, all in a hands-on, hearts-in, supportive community. Join us at thevodojo.com.
Welcome everybody to the VO Dojo's Ask the Sensei. I'm Tish Hicks. I'm the Master Sensei of VO Dojo here in Burbank, California. And I'm joined by 𝗧𝗶𝗺, who will be moderating this lovely event. This is our one of two free events that we do each month. This is Ask the Sensei, our free Q&A call. So the idea of this is I invite one of my esteemed and inspiring voiceover colleagues to join us to answer your questions. So today we are super excited to welcome Leia Hoffman, who has been since I've known her, just has been an inspiration from afar. And now that I know her, I just want to I want to be Leia Hoffman when I grow. She's an amazing force of nature, force of soul, incredible voiceover talent and advocate, and and we're glad you're here. So let me just, we'll have say hi, Leia, and then we'll have you speak in just a second, and I'll talk about how the thing is going to go. I got so excited to introduce you. So say hi.
Oh, what's up, everybody? How's it going? It's so nice to be here. I was like, do people show up? I don't know. Is anyone coming?
Do.
Look at all of you. Thanks for being here, and
They
thank you,
do.
Tish, and the Dojo team for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So we'll have Leia say more about all of her goodness and badassery in just a second. So how this rolls is we're here to answer your questions. So right now, if you want to put in where you're from, that's always good to know how connected we all are. And even though we come and meet here, even though we're all over the place, when we come and meet here, we are connected. So that's really cool. And then it's a Q&A. So if you want to put your cues, your questions in the chat, we will, 𝗧𝗶𝗺 will call you into the room to share your voice, and we'll answer as many as we can until top of the hour. If you need to roll, that's cool. And if there are extra questions, we also do overflow questions. So that's how it goes. We're going to answer questions in just a second. But Leia, tell us about your goodness.
Oh, well, thanks again for having me, Tish. And hey, everybody, I appreciate your time and spending some of it with me today. Tell you about me. I know we did 21 questions just the other day.
Yes.
So apparently there's a video in the ethers that if you really want to dive in, we had some great conversation about my path. It's unconventional, as most of ours are in creative spaces. And I am grateful for all the lessons that were learned along the way. A bit of a bootstrapping business model over here. But I got my start in radio about 26 years ago. So try not to do the math. I went to school for radio broadcasting in Chicago, which is where I'm from. My career took a personal detour that led to the middle of in the mountains of Colorado and moved out to the Continental Divide. And I was from trauma for a while, found it back on the mountain, taught myself how to snowboard, and gained my strength back. From there, I entered the market in Steamboat Springs as a radio jock, doing the afternoon drive with the 420 radio hour, and really figured out how to incorporate bringing my strength and my voice back and sharing music and my love for music with so many people. And that kind of resonated back then. You did your your voiceover when I didn't know I was doing voiceover by doing all the radio drops and commercials and ads for our supporters. And it was an incredible experience. My career took many, many detours and ended up in places like San Francisco, Los Angeles, and now Atlanta. I was in marketing for a long time, running nightclubs, a former DJ, a nightclub DJ, and with that also gave me the opportunity to do a lot of radio commercials for Atlanta nightclubs. I didn't know I was doing voiceover. Yet I was getting paid to do it since I was about 20 years old. So I'd like to say that I've been doing voiceover for that long, but it wasn't until corporate stuck a knife in me and I decided to pull the plug and go full time after some deep exploration, and I figured out that voiceover was a viable opportunity, and there were so many different options within this incredible community and industry. So in 2018, I went full time as a voice actor. My family and I decided this was the investment worth taking, and if I could bet on myself, I wouldn't lose. So I did, and years later, here we are. My daughter also is a voice actor. She started when she was 5, Sila. Her and I started a podcast for a while called She Sounds Like Me. And since then, my career has just been learning one element and strength after another and learning from my mistakes and helping to expand on the community that's been so good to me, like all of you. And it's been incredible. These days I'm represented by Atlas in New York and Los Angeles. My focus is mostly commercial, live announce, promo, corporate narration, of course, and in-show narration just a tiny bit. But my heart and soul is definitely in commercial and live announce. Love to see more of that as the future builds out. I'm also lucky enough to be a part of a couple of organizations within the voiceover community, like Voiceover for the Planet, which gives a percentage of all of our incomes collectively to incredible organizations that benefit all of humanity and our planet. So that feels really great to be a part of. I'm also part of the Building Doors campaign, which, as you can see in backwards font, if you can get really creative, is supporting equality for women in voiceover, building equity among women and opportunities for women in voiceover, making sure that our voices are heard in a predominantly, and especially in male-dominated spaces. So wildly proud of that. I'm also a breast cancer survivor, and with my friend Tish Hicks, we started a voiceover community online for breast cancer and cancer survivors in the voiceover community. And yeah, I just love giving back to an industry that gives so much of themselves and shares so much, which is why it's incredible to have the opportunity to talk with all of you today and be a part of the vision here at the VO Dojo. So there you have it.
See? Definition of badassery. There we go.
Thanks, babe.
All right. Well, let's get some questions going. Do we have any questions that have come up, or want to make some up and put them in the chat?
I have a question.
Okay, great.
How does seeing your daughter's progress in voiceover inspire your own voiceover journey?
Oh, I love that question. Thanks for asking me. Sila got started when she was 5 years old. I didn't think anything of it. She started asking. She was loved reading and consuming and seeing what I was doing, and I just had her read a couple scripts, and then every day she came off the bus asking for more. Her personality was so infectious that it gave, of course, excitement to what I was doing, and it made me realize that I could incorporate more play in my delivery and how I was presenting and looking at this work. You know, we get in our heads a little bit and you try to incorporate all the training you've had. and then a psychology of this genre or that genre, and who am I talking to, and where am I, and all this shit. And really, at the end of the day, what books it is when you play and when you feel it in your heart. And she was just authentically doing that. But really seeing her progress, it has been the greatest joy, the unexpectedly greatest joy of almost of my lifetime, to teach her from a very young age that her voice matters, and that as a young girl she can speak up and be her. And I will get choked up with that statement every single time, because that was something that wasn't really taught to me. I had to learn for myself, and to teach that to my daughter at a young age and expose her to the incredibly generous community has been like the blessing I never even knew would be bestowed upon us. She's got more friends in this community, some of them are on this call, than her mom even does. She's an award-winning voice actor, and at 13 has done hundreds of campaigns that have made a difference. And I hope that just continues to foster, more strength in her voice and her own independence in who she is, whether if it's in voiceover or not, as we go. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's our mission here at the dojo, is aligning people with the power and possibility of their voice. And
that's right.
when you come in and are supported from the very beginning, that when we, yes, it's amazing.
Yeah, and really empowering the next generation of voice actors, right? Because we don't know where this industry is going, obviously. We're all met with some of the same issues, especially when it comes to AI. But, empowering them with the tools they need. For instance, I worked with Karen Gilfrey and Jennifer Sunbell on NAVA's best practices for children in voiceover, because there are not enough protections for children in voiceover, for enough information out there for parents that are trying to get their children into voiceover. We kind of had to dig through the rubble to figure it out and advocate for ourselves along the way, whether it was money or rates and time spent on the mic or breaks, etc. And she really helped shape and define that. And I'm just so honored to be able to share this industry with my little prodigy. I don't know. My bestie. She's probably coming down here in a few minutes. So thanks for
Awesome.
asking that.
Yeah. All right. Now you had some questions. Oh, additional questions. Great one to get things flowing.
If you can't answer or speak your question into the room, just let me know and I can do it for you. But for now, we have Nevin Stoltz.
Hello, thank you for being here. My question is, what is your biggest tip or thing you use to really connect with a script to get an authentic read out of it?
That is a great question. And candidly, I'm going to say something that's probably not what you may think. I do quite a bit of volume in a day as far as auditions from either production houses, agencies, etc. I see another question about this coming up, but really, I don't have a lot of time to dissect a script, to understand who am I talking to, who's the audience, who am I, what's the emotional point. And I've trained with some of the best coaches out there for years to try to compound that deeply into the sense. So I don't need to necessarily pick apart every script. But to connect with a true read, if I can get a sense for the brand, get a sense for the genre, and I do bounce from, a commercial copy to a promo copy to a corporate read, all within the same day. Sometimes video games or even just a touch of animation, but that's not really my bag. I'm really like, how would I want to hear this? I don't want to be sold to here. And everything feels like just smells like a cell these days. So if I can scrape that off and just get real and just tell you what this shit is that you need to get with, this is why you need it, and this is why we're going to keep it real. Sometimes if I really have to turn it on and put myself in a place where I need to know who the audience is, there's always an opportunity to Google quick, what is this brand doing right now in the moment? When it comes to promos, if it's a different beast altogether. Who is the audience that this is supposed to appeal to? And then I put them in my mind and I try to deliver it to them. But really a quick lead in, like, you got to know about this. Listen to this. This is badass. This is, forgive my French, I speak a lot of it. This is a fucking next level. What is this? You got to know about this. And then it tends to be a more authentic read because that's who I am. Don't get me wrong. I sell some stuff, some hard sell clients are some of my bread and butter. So there's a lot of high energy in your face.
You really fucking need to know this.
Yeah, you need to come this Saturday night, at Hard Rock, whatever it is. But that's an elevated read, and there's a place for that too. What you need out of that is you need to feel a party vibe. So I guess that's the head spin there. I hope that answers that question.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that really resonates about that is this combination that, every day this is a combination of intuition, understanding what the job requires, intuition and the technical, right? When you've been doing it for a long time, when you get into your car, after you've been driving for 150 years, you don't think like, oh, I need to adjust the thing. So I think a lot of times when we, the dojo course is called From Mystery to Mastery. When you have reached a level of mastery, this is what you do, and it's incorporated. And then we each can find that, just what is the intuition? What's your intuition into it?
And believing that intuition,
Yeah.
I have to say, I mentioned it just a moment ago. I've coached with so many people, and sometimes when you almost get to a point of coach exhaustion where you've got too many voices in your head telling you how to dissect copy, and really nobody knows better than you. So take all that. Okay, cool. It's out there. But then pack it back and just trust who you are. And that delivers the most authentic.
Yeah.
Take it in a minute.
When we're training, we work in coaching modality and we work in direction modality. And in coaching modality, you finish a take and I'll ask you, how did that feel? What notes would you give yourself? Because it's really important from the very beginning of any part of this journey that that what you think and know is most important. And then in a millisecond, we collaborate with the director or with whoever's also having ideas about this. But what you think and know is most important. So keep on trusting that.
That's right.
Yeah. And you can't drive the car from your brain. That's also something else I say. I think when people are just trying, okay, and then I will connect up with who I am talking to, and then I will emphasize the third word on the left. I say you can't drive the car with your brain. That's the equivalent of sitting in the front seat and going like a little kid going like, You have to put your foot on the pedal and that connect up to your gut and your heart. And that's what moves the car forward. If we're just driving with our brain, we're just sitting there in the front seat. Nobody
Truly.
cares. Nobody
if
cares.
You got a bunch of distractions there, you might crash. So put that shit away.
Yeah, good question. Good question.
For sure.
And then at the dojo, we would go like, well, how do you do it, Nevin? Because we want to hear, this is the we'll go have coffee or something. But that's the next question. When you ask the question, then how do you go like, well, what do I do? So, yeah,
cool.
Good. Cool. What's next?
𝗧𝗶𝗺𝗀, come on up.
𝗧𝗶𝗺𝗀.
Hi, Leia. Thank you so much for being here.
What's up, Rose? Oh my gosh, are you adorable? Look at this hair.
Oh my God. Thank you. And just side note, I just did this hair because I had my headshots and I feel like I magically manifested you, or your SEO is just amazing because I was looking, I was like, what do female voice actor headshots look like? And you were one of my inspirations. So when this popped up, I was like, did I manifest her? her? Oh my
Oh,
God.
yes, you did, babe. You got the power of that. That's way
Oh my
cool.
God. That's so
I love
cool.
that. Thank you for saying so. I appreciate that very much. I built that damn website myself. I tweak it regularly, and it is it's a beast of burden, but if it's working out, killer.
Yeah, it really is. It's awesome. I literally Googled and like boom, that's how you know SEO it's working.
Thank
So
you.
that
Awesome.
yeah. That kind of leads me into my question. So you answered my first question. So my second question is, what growth did you see when you started focusing on your branding? Because your branding is incredible. Your website, your headshots, all of it have such a flow.
Oh,
So like what
gosh,
growth
thank
did you
you.
see when you started noticing that? Or
Um,
doing that?
you know, Karen Gilfrey just spoke to this on social the other day, and I think when you start, and I think she nailed it. It kind of summarized exactly how I've always felt about the business. I was fortunate enough to step into voiceover as a career and just make the decision that this was a compromise my family was willing to take to go full time. And I treated it like a business from the beginning. I'm also a Virgo, incredibly particular and detailed oriented, and almost to a fault, where I won't let something go out unless it's pretty clean. Like walking into the space of this industry as a pro, looking it, feeling it, sounding like it, investing in the right equipment for my style, for my setup, for my voice, etc., from the jump, and treating it like an investment. I knew that I was going to do that in a polished way from the beginning, because I never wanted to present like I was anything less than already there. And you mentioned manifesting, right?
Yes.
I actually took a manifestation master's program. This is probably another conversation, when trying to determine whether or not this was a viable career opportunity for me. I also looked at photography, which I'm pretty passionate about, and other creative endeavors. And when it came down to it, like, I could see myself in this space. And how could I see myself in this space? Like, what's the ideal version of myself in this space? And as I was thinking through that dream in my brain and mapping that out, like some of us do with vision boards, I actually saw myself receiving like a 𝗧𝗶𝗺 award, or an award of some sort, and being in a room full of people, and like, what would it look like to be a pro among those people that I had already looked up to? 2, 3 years later, I was that person in that room, and I was getting that 𝗧𝗶𝗺, and I was getting that One Voice Award. And I think that's because I made a mental shift in my brain from the beginning, that I was going to look the part, sound the part, be the part, and make it feel like that all together. Because if you're already there, showing up is just the other half of it. And like, the universe says, all right, she's ready. Let's give it to her. The clients that come go, oh, she's already been here. You showed up and we're like, oh, dang, that's what I want to be like. Well, hopefully the clients and, you know, my partners and feel like that as well. So roundabout way of saying, like, act it, be it. You're an actor. Act like you're already there. And you never know, you're already one step ahead. It's your mindset, right? Treat your
Exactly.
business like a business, because it is.
That's so inspiring. And you had said in the 21 questions something that is said so much, but it just didn't connect until you said it. Doing the 1% every day. Like, I
Yeah,
thought of that even this morning, of like, sometimes I feel like I'm not doing enough towards branding, towards voice acting. And then just to hear you say, like, just 1%, like, I got there on 1%. And I thought, me watching this interview, that can count as 1%. Me coming to the event,
absolutely.
1%. Like, and so what does you, because you wear so many different hats, like, what does your 1% look like for your day to day?
Showing up right here with all of you. I mean, let me be like real with you all. And actually, one of my accountability buddies and my best friends in this industry is on this call. I see her, Marisa Blake, and Adrian LaValle's probably around here somewhere too. We are working in a creative industry that is on the backs of our empathetic hearts every single day. And this is a very, very hard time. The world is experiencing exponential heaviness. It is very hard to show up and be your creative, authentic self when you're wearing your heart on your sleeve and the world is literally crumbling around us. But as we spoke about before y'all joined the call, doing that little bit 1% to move yourself forward is so important, not just for yourself, but for the collective energy of all of us and for our industry. We can't let our art go away, our craft sit by the wayside when we have to. Sometimes you look at this stuff and think, oh, this is so redundant. How can we promote this event, this offering, when all this is going on? But it's being a part of the community, cultivating your craft and your community that will help you harness your own internal power and like help us move through some of this shit. Because, you know, the hard times is when the best art is created. And while it seems silly on a molecular level, or just when we're in our booths in our own space, in our own heads, and our hearts are like bleeding and heavy, that's when we have to show up the most. And yeah, so that's what I'm doing today, is showing up for all of you, and thank you for doing that in return.
Yeah.
Of course. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Leia.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
we were
Rose.
saying before, as everyone was coming, as we were stepping in to create this space for us to come together, when everything feels like it's breaking apart, what we can do is find the ways to come together. So, yeah,
Yep.
get our
Yeah, and
voices
it's hard.
seen.
It's hard to show up for yourself. It's hard to show up when you're the only one pushing yourself forward. I used to tell myself if I could make $100 in voiceover today, it would have been a successful day. And then that goal scaled up. And some days I hit it and some days I don't. And I give myself the grace on the days that I don't, that say, hey, you know what? That just means you just needed a rest. You needed a mental health day. You needed to just go outside and take a break. And sometimes that is the 1%, recognizing where you need to give grace to yourself, because this mic picks up absolutely everything going on here. You can act your way out. You can try to act your way out of it, but she won't lie. And so sometimes doing just that is just giving yourself the space and grace to take a step back.
Yeah, that's been like, I've been doing this like for 30 years, and I was laughing at myself because I started going to a CrossFit gym, not like a CrossFit gym, but like a,
Tish
hey,
Hicks and CrossFit.
we're lifting weights, and we're getting better. But I was cracking myself up because the principle is you lift the weight, you put it down, and then you rest. And then you lift the weight and you put it down, and then you rest.
Such is
And
life.
and my brain and my soul is like, wait, okay, so like what's this resting part? Like, what is that?
It's imperative,
So I know,
is what it is.
but I'm like, whoa, it's so funny that I'm like, what? Oh, I get it. Oh, but it really is important that we recognize that it all goes together. So,
Yep,
yeah,
that's right.
yeah. Whoosh, these are good questions. Shall we move on to one more, Akos?
Yes, Stanford, come on up.
There we go. See, it all works out.
Hey, hey, Tish and everybody.
Hey.
I was just want to know, how is AI affecting the industry now, and do you see it as a help or hindrance, and are you
It's
taking AI jobs?
it's great. No, no.
Thank you for asking that question. I wish I had the answer.
Mhm.
I am grateful for people like the team at NAVA for advocating for us and lobbying for us. It's a human issue. It's not a voice actor issue. Our name, likeness, voice can be taken at any time, and there are no legal protections against us as humans. That is a problem. Whether it's going to parlay into this industry, I don't know if our industry will have the legs that it does in 3 years or 4 years or 5 years. It's getting better every day, every time. And I'm like most of us, I'm using AI in some capacity. I have an Alexa. Every time she reboots, there's a new version of her voice that's like unbelievably clearer than the last time. in the early stages of AI, I would use AI to clone my own voice and to clone my daughter's voice because she's a part of campaigns that she started when she was 6 years old, and she's 13 now. And sometimes there are campaigns where her voice needs to be replicated to create a tag on a SAG National that's been running for 4 or 5 years. They want to keep having her, but she sounds different now. So we'll create an AI model of her voice to incorporate as a tag. In some instances, those are helpful. I want to advocate for structure and protections at all costs. But in reality, I've leveraged it in my own business, whether it's ChatGPT on occasion for research or some other AI models to help with CRMs. And even my own invoicing at QuickBooks has now an AI model integrated in that and automation. So will we have jobs in 4 or 5 years? Is this a viable industry to get into right now? I think it is. I think it is because there will be nothing that can replace the truth and authenticity and soul in storytelling. And I think that we're going to see a little bit of a backlash when it comes to inauthentic voices in creative spaces and storytelling. Hopefully some of the last places to see that will be in audiobooks and in-show narration and political and in live announce and in commercial. But in corporate narration and e-learning, maybe some of the first to go. I've already lost jobs to some of it as well. Some clients that used to use me for scratch tracks and corporate narration, I just found that it's more cost prohibitive. It's cost prohibitive to use a voice actor. And hopefully up the food chain, they'll start realizing at large that makes a disconnect among your listener.
Right.
That's all we
And
can ask for.
I think if we don't believe, then that's the first giving into it too. Like when we not to be naive, right? Like not be naive. It's happening. It is happening.
Yeah.
But how I think one of the things that it does to the business right now is it allows us to recognize that our excellence, our ability to do what we can and bring our humanity, ourselves at the fullest level, is what is going to differentiate from that AI voice, right? That it sounds good, and then you hear it say the word wrong or the same thing in the same inflection, and you're like, wait a minute. But we need to keep on believing in ourselves and tuning into what we're bringing, in addition to And then I think also the level of excellence that is worth paying for, where it makes a difference, right? So
Yep.
maybe this e-learning is not going to be that smaller bread and butter because AI can get that job done. But when the major corporation recognizes, if no one's listening to this training, if it doesn't have the impact that it needs to, we've invested this money into it. If this doesn't work, that will cost us money,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah.
or it's more complex. So I think we have to keep on advocating and doing, you know, showing up with excellence. It's interesting. One of my main things is being a voice of Subaru and tagging, and it's just that ability to make those little phrases that are innocuous, but the most important thing, right? Because
You're
they're
in
the
good
call to
hands with Allstate.
action. Well, it's the call to action. It's the offer, right? Get 0.9% APR financing right now. But to be able to do that every month, you know, do this many words in this many seconds, this many words in this many seconds, get it done, get it done, get it done. That's worth having a person, right? God bless that it
Yeah,
is
and I think that
still.
the tides are coming back too. Just as a lot of people are realizing how much water AI is soaking up with every question you ask ChatGPT. You know, I think people are like, whoa, where are we going here? And it's moving at the speed faster than the speed of light. But if you can still stay true to yourself, and as others have mentioned, you know, if you lose a client to them, then let that free up your space to find others that are like deeply committed to using human voices. And I have no crystal ball. I wish I did. I actually just had a consult with a mom and daughter who the daughter was hoping to get into voiceover out of college or out of high school and not go to college because she thought there would be a long-term career in voiceover as a sophomore. I said, oh my gosh, please don't do that.
Yeah.
Please go look in another direction. Don't put all your eggs in this basket out of high school. But you never know. I mean, it
But
also depends on your
do it out of
tenacity.
high school. Do it out of high school because it'll complement and supplement what you're doing.
Exactly, but don't like
But don't think that's going to be the only thing. Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
And
Um,
diversify your own experience in the genres so that you can bob and weave as, you know, it takes a hit here or there.
mhm. Yeah. Well, let's take a little pause to share how we can stay in touch with you, Leia, how we can
Okay.
stay in touch with some of the organizations that you are believing in and a part of, and then we'll share some of the stuff that's going on at the dojo, and then we'll go back to questions. So,
I
yeah,
love it.
how do we stay in touch, Leia?
Anywhere on social, at Leia Hoffman. I'm usually best found on LinkedIn or Instagram. It looks like Kelsey's just dropped in there. I appreciate the shout out, Rose, for my ever changing and always a work in progress website. Lots of content on there. I'm not a coach. I'm, you know, just here to share and impart my own personal information. I'm more active on Instagram than anything. And like mentioned earlier, so I've got my head in the sand on social media a little bit right now because it is just so hard to take it all in. And I'm trying to stay focused on my family, myself, and my business. But I'm always here to support and be a champion of other voice actors. As Kelly Buttrick once told me, you have a North Star. We all have a North Star within the industry. We have an East and West point that helps us out, is usually on the same level as us, and we have shared experience that we can share and knowledge. And then there's always someone at your south, and you should always be willing to reach down and lift someone up and pay it forward. And so if I can ever be an East, a West, a South, a North node for you, please feel free to reach out. I will do my best to give you my honest feedback or support or cheer you on. I've got some incredible partners, one of which is here, Christy Harst. I see you, babe. The OG creator of buildingdoorsvo.com. If you aren't familiar with Building Doors and this sassy shirt that I'm representing today, it's a campaign that Christy started back in 2004. I'm one of the OG door builders, and it advocates for equal opportunities in voiceover for women in voiceover. The stats are astounding. She's done like monumental work in moving the needle for equality in women in voiceover and to make sure all voices are heard and have these opportunities. So I'm just one small speck of a movement of badass women on that platform. And then, of course, I'm also a member of Voiceover for the Planet, where our collective contributions have reached over $85,000 in global giving this year alone, where we pay it forward in both our time, our energy, and our wallets. And so just proud and feel so good to pay it forward. Of course, also a member of NAVA, which if you're in the game and can afford to contribute in any way, NAVA is a wealth of information, the National Association of Voice Actors here in the States, and there is now CAVA in Canada for our Canadian friends. So,
And lava for the Latin American
oh yes,
community. Yeah.
lava, exactly, amazing. So there's so many different and one other vocal victims advocacy group. These are just small organizations that have come to create more community, and we need more of that as much as we possibly can. They're doing the work of legends. It's incredible to see. I wish I all that energy. But to be a small part on a small ripple in these organizations is a huge honor. So please give them love and check out their
And
work.
the beautiful thing about all of these is that it's for everyone at any stage. I mean,
Yes.
Leia and I just were supported by the advocacy group because we're smart, we're pretty, we're smart, and we got duped by some magazine thing, and
We
now
sure
we
did.
know. Now we know. Don't do that just because, yeah. But we, the Nava and the advocacy group just came around and okay, let's get the word out. Let's do
Yeah.
this.
The
So it doesn't
support,
matter
you
where
need the
you are on the
support.
journey. Yeah.
Absolutely. We're all independent entrepreneurs that are talking to ourselves in a box all day. You're bound to go fucking crazy. You need to have these little pockets of community wherever you can find them and whatever feels good to you. There's a bunch of voiceover groups on Facebook, and they're a wealth of information and resources. So you don't need to make the same mistake as some others have, because we're all willing to share and, learn from each other and support each other as champions of the industry. Yeah. So
Which is what we're here at the Dojo doing. We do this twice a month. Ask the Sensei is the first Wednesday of every month. Get to know VO. More informationally based is the first or third Wednesday of every month. And Kels, what else have we got coming up and going on? We're really here to support everyone from I don't know to working pro. So wherever you are on the journey, we're here to meet you where you are and be here to help you get to where you want to be together. So yeah.
Yes, we have a lot of exciting things coming up. So we have Get to Know VO, Taxes, Taxes, Taxes with Katie Mercer. All about voiceover and taxes and what you need to know in regards to voiceover and taxes. It's one of those things that's so important and so not talked about enough.
yes.
So please, that will be happening on March 18th. Come stop by. We also still have our Spread the Love VO contest going on. If you refer the most friends, you get a 1-hour private coaching with Tish. And also every referral gets you and your friend $100 of Dojo cash. Another thing coming up is our You Should Do Voiceover April class, which is our beginner / starting out course.
Well, it's actually our foundational course
Yes,
because
our
we have
foundation.
everybody comes and starts there, even in the working pro division. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So that's coming up in April, January, and February sold out. So if you want to come, please come and join us. We're also going to be at Voiceover Atlanta. So Tish is on the mental health panel
Speaking of
on.
going crazy in a box, yes.
Yeah, Tish is on the mental health panel with Kristen Paiva, Dave Fenoy, Eric Romanowski, and Ferenik
Parents,
Glasgow.
Parents.
parents, yeah,
Ference.
yeah.
It's one of those names where I've only read it and never said it out loud.
It's a hard one.
The
It looks like
paradigm.
Farrick.
But that'll be on Saturday, and then Tish also has a breakout panel called Dude, Bitches, and Motherfuckers, activating your point of view for infinite, effortless, badass ABC takes. That's going to be happening on Friday, and you can get $100 off with our code that I've put in the chat. And last but certainly not least, we have our VO Pro Fight Clubs that are coming up. We have video games with Keith Asak. He's the dialogue director at Insomniac Games. Done BioShock, Spider-Man 2, all kinds of great stuff. We also have interactive toys with Chuck Wedge, who is a senior producer and writer at Leapfrog, and has worked on tons of toys. That's another one of those underrated, people don't know much about it categories. And then we have Anime with Sean Gann, who is a director at Crunchyroll. So please come play or spectate. Either way, you get to get your voice in the room and get to be seen and heard.
Yeah.
So.
And if any of this is of any interest, please find some time on calendar to talk with one of our path guides, Anderson or Melina, and or if you want to reach out to myself, that's cool. But yeah, if you're beginning on the journey, working pro, we have our working pro division, the nth degree. So yeah, here to support you every step of the way because we got to do it together. So, okay, now back to our regularly scheduled program. Where are we at with the questions?
So I have a little bit of a complex question.
Okay.
So this was submitted anonymously. Um, Someone plays a romantic interest in this foreign language animation, but they just found out that the project director changed his social media username and profile pictures to the character, and they're feeling a little creeped out. They want to be able to promote the work, but they're like worried that, it's just a little bit of a red flag. So they're wondering, how can they toe the line of professionalism when handling this project? Should they ignore it? How would they even promote it? Or what are your thoughts?
Can you clarify the issue a little bit more?
Yeah.
Um,
So job has been done.
mhm,
It's ready to be promoted.
mhm.
And then the director did what? Or the person did what?
The project director changed his social media username and profile pictures to their character, and they're just feeling a little uneasy about it. Is this something they should address? Should they just ignore it? What do you guys think?
I cut out, so I apologize. I'm back in now. There we are. Thanks. Um, there are, and I didn't catch the entire part of that, but I will just say there's some, now more than ever, there are some people that are preying on voice actors in the community in multiple ways. But when it comes to like being publicly promoted or social media it starts to get very dicey. Can you restate it for me a little bit, Kelsey?
Yeah, so they played the romantic interest in this project, and now the project director has taken their character and set it as their username and profile pictures.
Mm.
And this person is wondering, like, how can I address this? Should I just ignore it? Um, yeah.
Unfortunately, I think that we don't own these characters, right? We have to, it's not ours for the taking. Hopefully, this person got paid fairly and maybe they're credited accordingly. It will be, that's in poor taste of the project director. I've not ever heard of been in a situation like that, but I think it's best to let that lie because it will probably work itself out, and you probably don't have the rights to own that character or that likeness or what have you. We very rarely are even given clearance to promote the work that we do on social. So the fact that that person is doing it is probably stepping outside of the boundaries, and it's probably not your job to correct it, especially if you ever want to work with that person again. But maybe you don't, because they've clearly showed that they're not that great in business. That's not a smart business decision, in my opinion.
Yeah, I guess my brain goes to, if this is a main character and this person is the person promoting the whole project, I'm not advocating one way or another, but I'm saying like what could be a thought process for doing that? I guess that's where my brain goes like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
Is the main character like the the person that we'd want to be like, oh, I know that character with that project. So it becomes like the person the character that's associated with the product project. So that whoever's doing that is promoting the whole project. Like I'm taking a little walk around the garden here, but and then I guess the question is how paying attention to if it is negatively impacting you or personally impacting you, because I think it's kind of interesting that you mention it's the romantic lead. So there was some little red flag that went off there, like as long as you're safe, or creepy people aren't going to be coming toward you because of that. I don't know. I don't know if these are solid answers, but it's an exploration of the question.
It's also
And
just
then,
kind of like indicative of like what femme people in voiceover have to deal with, and I think
Oh,
it's
yeah.
important to talk about because
mm,
not a lot of people do because they're afraid of not being hired again or being, but then, it's at the expense of the femme people in the space, you know?
mm,
Yep. Agreed. And I think that oftentimes we're silenced because we are working in silos. And, not to drill back on what Tish and I had been through collectively, but sometimes you don't know you're even in a situation or that anyone else has had this shared situation unless you have the bravery, can find the bravery to speak up about it. And that takes guts. So I applaud you for asking. I wonder if there's more information or maybe someone else that worked with you in the project that you could sidebar with if you felt comfortable. Or maybe do a little deep dive on the director and see what affiliation they have or what other projects they're working on. But yeah, good to raise a flag and trust your spidey senses and your instincts in
mm,
all. I mean, to a cautionary point in this industry because a lot of unfortunately it's a little bit of the prey mentality in the moment. You got to
mm.
be careful of it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, hopefully that's helpful.
Yeah.
Um, and
What
I
else do
think,
we
yeah,
got?
yeah. What else have we got?
Jeff Vestergaard, if you can come up. If you can't, no worries.
Sure, not a problem. So first, thank you very much for hosting this session. It's very informal. And my question is, when did you feel ready to actually make the jump from your regular job to doing voiceover as your main income or main job for that matter?
Yeah. Oh, I did not ever feel ready or confident. I just did it. But I did it because I mentioned early on, I was in a major corporate role. I was a global vice president of branding for a major beauty brand. I was traveling all over the world, and I was never home to see my daughter. I was in a position where my husband and my partner and I could make the decision to take the risk and where he could do some more of the heavy lifting financially for our home. I didn't have a whole lot in savings. I had an idea of how much I needed from a startup perspective, and we had some hard conversations about at what point would we decide this was going to be successful. I had it explained to me by other pros that an average first year full time voice actor, and this was years ago, so maybe this doesn't stand, was between $40,000 a year as far as income. And maybe that you could expect that if you were working full time in some capacity as your, first line of income. For me, transparently speaking, I see a bar and I go, cool, let me blow past that. And I did. I doubled that the first year, and then I continued to double that as the years went on. That's not the norm. I understand that. And I come from a place of like, I had marketing intuition, expertise in the bag already. I had accounting and a business entrepreneurial mindset baked into my personality and my skill set. And then what I spoke about in 21 Questions, which I believe is one of the tools for my success, was the tact and tenacity and the talent to just continue to push. And maybe these days I'm pushing 1% a day. Back then I was going 10, 15, 20%. I was all in and treated this like a full-time, beyond full-time job for the first year, learning, building, teaching myself anything I didn't know. And so I think it depends on your personality, your financial circumstance, your socioeconomic circumstance, where you at in your your family financial dynamic and whether or not you can make that jump. But I was never ready. I just decided I was going to fucking do this. And I wasn't going to stop until I either proved after a year, if I didn't make $40,000 in the first year, we would have to reevaluate and say, okay, maybe this isn't a viable income source. And maybe I need to look for another opportunity or go back to marketing or find a part-time job. We had some markers as a family that would determine the success for us. And then things worked out. So, but that's not the case for everyone. That was just what happened for me. And I think everyone's journey is so unique, and that's what makes part of this industry so beautiful, is that there's no one clear path to getting to what you define as success, which how great is that?
Yeah. And I think, I think, the getting into the game and getting it going is a whole different thing, requires a lot more, frankly, than it did. I'm always like, back in the day,
Back in
it was
my
hard.
day.
It was hard. Everything we do at the dojo is based on like, what did I do to get to where I was in this succinct amount of time? Like, that's what we do because this is what it all takes. And I think it takes even more now. However, everything that Leia is saying is there's two levels. On a talent basis, I always tell my origin story of, having a break, getting a taste of this and going like, this is what I'm doing, arriving in LA and going, who do you know? Who do I do? Not who do I do, but that's not the way to do anything. But what do I do? Who do you know? What shall I do? And being just like, on the trail, because this is it. And having a place where I was like, okay, I've been doing this for about a year. I think I'm ready to make my demo. And having an amazing demo producer, voiceover producer, do me the biggest favor of saying, you are 98% ready, and I'm not going to make your demo because to move into this major market thing, you need to be 110% ready, 130% ready. I think that still is a good barometer. I do think there are things that you can be doing, and you will be booking when you're not 130%. But just recognize that in terms of the work you're doing and being able to deliver on this job, how are you always raising the bar yourself, but keeping it low enough that you can jump out over it, right? It's
Yep.
it's that 1%. So that's one thing. The other thing that's really, really critical about what Leia said is she and her family approached it as a business proposition, understanding what are the metrics, what money
Yep.
do we need to make, how will we know we are making that money, what are the ways that we are going to start, what are the things that will allow us to start those revenue streams. I think oftentimes when we start, we're just like, yeah, I just want to do voiceover full time. And we need to have the entrepreneurial mindset from the very beginning. Our skills are our product, right? If we don't have a product, how are we going to get it out onto the market, right? Does it have to be a perfect product? No. But and then I think the key to the kingdom now of knowing when to make a leap is building enough repeat clients in many different ways, because you can get a big campaign, right? One of my friends early on booked the Taco Bell campaign, not the Chihuahua, but the AVO for the Taco Bell. So he was like, boom, love this voiceover, until he wasn't the
Yeah,
voice
until
of
you're
Taco
not.
Bell. And then it was like, this is really hard. I'm like, yeah. So I think the name of the game is figuring out how to get repeat clients, whether as with whenever you book a commercial, how are you building relationships so you know those producers so that they think of you, or getting a campaign, but figuring out where is the consistent, the reliable, repeatable income coming, and how much do you need, and then what's your segue plan, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
but it really is formatting it like a business proposition. We had another opportunity was to take over my mother-in-law's fashion boutique. Yeah, does that sound like fun? Sure. Or starting up a food truck business. I mean, we had all these ideas, but each one of them had brick and mortar upfront cost. They had, marketing and sales material upfront costs. They had training upfront costs. And when I line itemed everything side by side, pros and cons, voiceover was actually the most viable, less barrier to entry, but I had to have the most, I had to wear the, I had to have the most training and the most investment in myself, which also felt like it wasn't tangible. What do you mean I got to spend what on coaching? How much is coaching? How long do I need coaching for? I know how to talk. I talk pretty. I've been on the radio for years. Like I am still investing in coaching, hundreds of dollars a month, all the time, always learning, always evolving. And so if you can figure out the balance to reinvest in yourself, continue to level up, no matter what level you hit success in your brain, like this is a business, and treating it as such from the beginning should be pretty clear to you then when you're ready. But it's also, everybody's individual.
yeah.
One thing I did drop in there in the chat just a moment ago is my own personal VO business checklist. Sometimes when I'm feeling very scatterbrained and need to find focus in this very ADHD world we're all living in, thanks perimenopause, and also, just the world is burning. Sometimes I used to rely on this list on a daily basis and kind of adjust based on where my business needed to grow or had strength or weakness in. Now I reference it all the time to say, okay, compartmentalize your day, and how do I structure the day so that I can stay on task and move the needle maybe more than 1% today if I'm feeling the mojo, if I have time to commit to it. So share that with all of you. Feel free to purposefully use it or not, or just reference it. It's there as a PDF download. So maybe you can have some fresh ideas of how to structure your full-time business or part-time business as you can scale it.
Yeah, and I think there's another thing when you are in this transition, recognizing that you are doing, if you're doing a full-time job and then you're taking this on to go full-time voiceover wise, you're doing two full-time jobs. That's two jobs that you're doing at the same time. Obviously not sustainable, but recognize that there's going to be a place where you go like, oh, I'm going to make this more part-time, but keep it going. And as my business becomes ever more reliable and repeatable, um,
And can your other roles sustain? Are you a caregiver or a parent?
right, right.
Are you a coach, or do you do something else to make sure that, you stay healthy every day? Those are all things you got to figure out the balance that works for you. And when it's time, it should feel like a hard yes and a heart soul pull.
And you'll know, and each will figure it out. Yeah. So much is it. And this is what we do in our working pro division. So when you have come to the place where you're like, hey, I'm doing this at whatever level, we call it the nth degree, because our development division is broken into belt levels like martial arts. So when you complete the Mystery Master program, you earn your black belt, and the nth degree is called the nth degree, like an nth degree black belt. You just keep on learning deeper and more. So nth degree is a place where we come together and explore what are these questions and what are these things and how we do those things. So yeah, yeah. Well, we said we were going to stop at 11, but it's 11:05, so maybe we can wrap up the official program. Do we have more questions, Kels?
No,
No.
that was it.
Okay. Well,
Love
then
it.
well
Perfect time.
done, everybody. Well done. Um, Leia, thank you so much. I just, every time I talk to you, I'm like, let's keep on talking forever. Like, this is so helpful and inspiring. And um, yeah, it's really great. So thank you for sharing some
Thank
of
you.
your
Thank
time
you all for
today.
spending time with me, whether you're doing it now live in person or
Mm.
even in a replay situation. Thank you so much for contributing your energy to my space today, and hopefully I've given you a tip or a spark that has ignited you on your journey. Please reach out and stay in touch. Tish,
Yes.
Kelsey, VO Dojo, so appreciate you. Just really grateful for the opportunity today. What a joy. So thank you
Yeah.
all.
Yeah, thanks guys. Well, hopefully we'll see you for Get to Know VO on the 18th, is that right? Kels? The
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
the 18th, and then put this on your calendar because we always have someone amazing joining us to hold the space and answer your questions to move you forward here for this Ask the Sensei.
Thank
So
you.
thanks everybody. Have a great day, and keep on taking care of yourselves and taking care of each other.
Yes.
Thanks
Bye, everybody.
guys. Bye.